way. All right, let's go to our next story. You know, medical negligence occurs when a healthcare professional's actions or inactions fall below the accepted standard of care, leading to harm or injury to a patient. The Coroner's Court, sitting at Ikorodu, Lagos, has recommended the criminal prosecution of an auxiliary nurse, Feishayo Ogedengbe, over the death of singer Ileri Oluwa Aloba, a.k.a. Mohbad. The coroner further ordered a formal investigation into the inaction of the Nigeria police regarding the matter. Wale.
I read the judgment of the magistrate, Adedayo Shotobi, and I'm really impressed. It covers the broad spectrum of the problem that is facing our society. Now, Mohbad has become the peg, you know, that we can use to understand what is going on. The judge spoke about neglect of the family, neglect of public institutions, and also the music industry. That this boy's death could have been avoided. There was unprofessional handling of the medical issue. There was lack of response to even the petition written by Mohbad, by the police, long time before, you know, death came. And also the fact that public institutions are not doing enough to deal with cases of emergency. And I'm glad that the judge was able to recommend that the culprit, the auxiliary nurse, should be prosecuted by the government. And it's not just about this young man. These things happen almost every day to Nigerians. There's a case of you know, a medical emergency, you get to the hospital, there's nobody to attend to you. Even when people are attending to you, you discover that they are not professionals.
Yeah.
So it shows clearly that this Mohbad's death could have been avoided if the normal procedures have been followed.
Yeah.
That is, you know, his death is not an act of God, it's a human error. And that we could have done a lot to save the life of this young man. Because when the nurse was invited, I mean, the nurse knew she wasn't qualified and then had to, you know, I mean, administer injection, you know, leading to convulsion and all sorts of things, you know, and eventual death. So this is it's a reflection of the plight of our medical services in this country.
Yeah, yeah.
Just last week, I lost a very close friend who had put in 35 years into the medical service in a teaching hospital. When they rushed him to the hospital around 2 a.m., the hospital had no diesel. They kept him for hours before they could go and buy, or more than 8 hours before they could go and buy a teaching hospital, no diesel. So what the judge is telling us is that, look, there are a lot of deaths that we could have avoided in this country. And Mohbad's case just happens to be one of such millions of instances where, you know, the deaths of people could have been avoided. So how the Lagos State government will take up this case, not just prosecution, but also to improve medical services, especially in our public institutions, not just Lagos State government. Because Lagos is far better than many states across this country. But, you know, the 30 states of the country, local governments, they should rise up to meeting the challenges of public health. As far as we are able to see from this particular case, there is a lesson that we should not allow this to happen again.
Because, you know, medical negligence is akin to misdiagnosis, if you understand what I mean. So when you drop the guard, something gives.
Yes, but this particular fiasco was caused by Mohbad's minders. When you are in that state, the place to go to is the hospital, not to go and call a nurse to come and administer drug or injection on you. Because once the matter degenerates at that point, there's nothing that auxiliary nurse can do, because one, the equipment that can redress the situation is not there inside your house. such equipment in the hospitals. So if you bring in a nurse, it's not even a doctor, a nurse, an auxiliary nurse. Even if you bring in a qualified nurse, there are situations that exceed the pay grade of a nurse. Requires a medical doctor to take charge. And in any case, even before certain treatments are administered, you're supposed to do a test. And the computer will show you the correct diagnosis, what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Medical science has passed that stage where you just bring an auxiliary nurse into your house to start giving injection. Because of a fight that he had before that September 12th incident, he suffered a cut. So what the nurse did was to administer doses of tetanus toxoid, paracetamol 4, ceftriaxone injection, which by the investigation of the police triggered vomiting, goosebumps, convulsion. And before Mohbad could get to hospital, we had given up.
The case had deteriorated.
Yes. It's like entrusting your life in the hands of a quack. Because in that situation, I see that nurse as a quack. She is not qualified to handle that level of care. She's not qualified to provide the level of care that Mohbad needed at that time. No, the police did a good job of interviewing more than 20 people, and at the end of the day, they came up with a preliminary report, which has now been corroborated by this the coroner. Because clearly, Mohbad's death could have been avoided, if he got the right treatment and if
at the right time.
Yes, if his minders actually took the right decision. You know, this case reminds me of Sherubawan, the late Adeleke. You know, it was also a nurse. It was a nurse that treated him, that triggered his death. So our big people should know that there's nothing wrong in going to the hospital. If you're a celebrity, it doesn't stop you from going to hospital. People can fall sick anytime. Don't bring in a nurse in the hope that, oh, that nurse will be able to treat you, you won't have to go to the hospital. I can tell you that there is a person that God used me to save the life of his wife. They said she had tetanus, and they just got a nurse to be giving her drips inside their house. When the situation degenerated so much, it was at that point that they knew, this person was about to die. They now had to rush her to the hospital. And the doctor said, if they are delayed just a little, that fellow will have died. For example, where your BP goes sky high, what can that nurse do at that time by way of remedial steps?
In an emergency like that.
Yes, so I'm happy that even the coroner had harsh words for Mohbad's father. Because Mohbad's father took the wrong decision to hurriedly bury him. That is why, because his internal organs were already in a bad state. So it hampered the morticians. They could not do a conclusive autopsy. Because you have to test those organs. Or they had already buried him. They had begun to decompose. The organs were in a bad state. So
could you say he was quickly buried on account of his
according
faith?
To him, according to him, because he's a young man. That by their culture, they shouldn't keep him. Yes, that was what he said. But now, with the controversy over his death, the fact that he was buried too early, by the time an order was made to exhume his corpse so that his death can be investigated, the organs were already too compromised for a proper
Anything
autopsy
useful.
that would deliver the right result to be done. So they blamed the fact that he was buried too early and the state of his organs for the inability to get a conclusive autopsy. So as we speak now, there is really no conclusive autopsy. And just as the mortician said, you cannot blame anyone. You cannot say somebody that maybe there was foul play or whatever. The only thing they can hold on to is the fact that that nurse
is the primary.
Yes, that nurse.
Primary guilty party.
Yes, the nurse didn't take the right steps.
Yeah.
And the injection that we gave him triggered. You know, there are some injections that they will give you that can even block your arteries.
Oh, yes.
If
because not hitting the right vein.
No, there are some injections that are too strong to be administered intravenously.
All right.
It will shut down your system to block your arteries.
Yeah.
So people need to know that, look, when you are in this kind of situation, just go to the hospital. That's where you can get expert treatment, not to call somebody into your house to start giving you injection. Because apparently, in fact, when I was discussing with my younger brother, my mother's last born, who is a medical doctor, he said when he read about what was pushed into Mohbad's system, he knew that there was no way he wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Because she loaded the guy's system with too many injections
apparently there was
that
no,
he didn't need.
There was no medical restraint.
Because he was in pains. So
yeah,
he was really in pains, according to witnesses, and the nurse was trying to see what she could do just to bring down the pain.
Wally, you know, as a patient, your healing starts the moment you are in the right environment.
Sure.
You know, you are attended to properly.
Yeah.
But again, the coroner is asking the police, has some knocks for the police too.
Sure. Yeah, that's why the judgment is, you know, is broad, you know. And when we are talking about this tetanus issue, it starts from birth. You have to take, you have to get your children to be vaccinated. You have to assure that they take the necessary immune when they are very young, so as to minimize the damage this might cause. This particular injection, I've had people who had a similar experience. Just like Babajide said, if that injection was even administered wrongly in an hospital, there would have been an immediate remedy.
Okay.
There is some what would have given him that would stabilize.
To counter it,
but we have a situation where he was being treated by an auxiliary nurse. An auxiliary nurse can only be an assistant.
Oh, yeah.
He or she can only work under the supervision of a professional, either a nurse, you know, with a certified nurse, or a medical doctor.
Yeah, but do you know
in this case,
but do you know this thing goes on even as we speak?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yes,
So that's why the judge was talking about regulating more regulation. You know, there are some states that don't even have corona law in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So Lagos is one of those few states where you have that. When there is an incident, let's do
an inquest.
An inquest, so that we can prevent first thing from happening.
Oh yeah.
Some people, when people die, the next 2 hours they are buried. But for public interest, it's always good to do inquest so that you investigate and then you learn lessons so that in future you can take precautions. So it's clear that his death could have been prevented. And I know there are other preventable deaths that that have occurred even this morning. So we need to overhaul our health system.
A stitch in time, they say,
saves nine.
Saves nine. Yeah. What more can we say? Mohbad, we miss you. I hope lessons are being learned.
There is something, Jones, that the coroner also suggested that this matter should be put to bed so that this boy can be buried and
properly,
so that he can get the rest, the spiritual rest that he deserves. And as we are talking now, people are shooting all kinds of videos, blaming this person, blaming that person. We really don't need that.
The blame game does not help anything here.
Yeah, the police affirmed that indeed Sam Larry bullied and assaulted him. Even we saw that on video. Yeah. But you can't conclusively say that both men, Sam Larry and Naira Marley, you know, killed him. In this case, given the injection administered to him and the way he reacted to that injection, is it safe to say this was the cause of death? At least that is what they can hold on to with some level of evidence. Instead of, no, it is the wife. Oh, it is this person. Oh, it is that person. Oh, it's this person that that caused the death.
In an extreme case, it's an arrow. Whatever that
they will know to say all of the nonsense that we are hearing. Let this matter be put to bed after this coroner's report so that they can give the boy the befitting burial that he needs and put closure to the matter. It's enough.
All right, folks,